What's up, gang? Hope you're doing well. I feel like I've finally been validated, or I'm about to be completely wrong on this. But as you know, we've made a couple videos about awful coaching. That's actually the entire reason. I mean, not reason I started my channel, but that was the first video I ever did on this channel, was talking about awful coaching. This video, you guys will let me know, and this just dropped. Gilbert Arenas apparently calls out awful coaching's casual ball knowledge. So either this is clickbait and awful coaching about to destroy and it's going to be dope, or Gilbert Arenas says the things I've been saying for a couple years now. Go subscribe to Gilbert Arenas show, go support all the videos that we steal. Okay. But I'm going to watch this. It's going to be a long video. I just want to get into it. It's an hour and 30. I don't know if this whole thing is with awful coaching, but I'll probably edit some parts out. But here we go.
Where the fuck is Jalen Duren is in the position he's supposed to be? This is why I say, if you don't know the concepts, shut the fuck up. What's up? This is your boy Gilbert Arenas, aka Hibachi, because today I'm about to be on fire. Listen, I know us ex-athletes in this social media game can become a little eerie to most folks because we don't talk the game, how you see the game. And some of you think you're smarter than us, the people who played the game on the level of what you're describing and talking about. I'm a big fan of awful coaching. And then I seen him rant the other night, and it's the name calling. You know, I know the name calling is more for trolling, right? The attention seeking, that's the same thing that we do. You're not a fan of the show? Hey, look, I'm a fan of yours. I love the content. But let's get something straight here, sir. When it comes to breaking the game down, you're never gonna be smarter than a player, nor a coach.
Not never be smarter than a player. That's false. Like, coaches obviously can be smarter, but what Gilbert's saying is essentially true. Some people don't have the resources around them to even, what's the law called? But basically, like, Dunning-Kruger effect. It's just like, you get to this point where you think you know everything, and then once you get to that space where you get chance to make some change and impact some stuff, you realize, like, oh shoot, I don't know anything. And then it's another gradual incline to what you think you know. So right now, awful coaching is still on that way of like hitting that first hump of, he doesn't even know that he's on the wrong path. He doesn't even know that he's so wrong on some of these things, and he just has never crossed that hump. And then and now he's dragging along hundreds of thousands of other people with him, and it's frustrating as a player who's just like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about, or a coach, this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
I'm sorry, it's just the fact, unless you are a coach on the level you are talking about. Now, you're very, very detailed, sir. But the problem is you're detailed in things that you have no idea what you're talking about. So we're going to go through one of your videos, and we're going to talk it from the lens of the NBA player, so you can understand what you're looking at. This ain't fucking high school basketball. Everyone on this court is in the 1 percentile of their job, meaning this is the best of the best.
Even smaller than that, crazy enough. So right here, I just think Gilbert, I know I've just stopped videos way too much, but I think Gilbert's giving him way too much credit. He's being way too nice. And I don't mean like nice as in not calling him names, just nice as in like understating how wrong and how far off awful coaching is.
This is not a player that you're guarding with 4 people that are going to be working at McDonald's or for their father when their high school career is over with. So while you're speaking on this game, saying, push him this way, help it recover to a 3-point shooter that's waiting for just this much space, you have no idea what you're doing. And a lot of media and fans have the same problem and issue. And the problem is this, people. If you don't know the game plan, then you don't know who responsibility it is to stop the ball, to help who dropped the assignment because you do not know what the plan is for this team, for this player in this quarter, which means you probably are calling out wrong defense of coverages due to who the personnel is on the court. So let's get right to it, Mr. Awful Coaching. Because if you was a coach, sir, you will be, from your breakdowns, will be considered an awful coach. The reason that I'm or any offensive player is a perfect film breakdown guy is to maximize our scoring ability.
This is something that I think a lot of people miss out on too. I don't know if Gilbert's going to how he's going to break down film. I've actually never seen him break down film, so this will be very interesting. But I feel the same way. As a scorer, as someone who didn't always have the right answers from the coach or the game plans from the coach or maybe the teammates that couldn't execute certain things, sometimes I had to just figure stuff out on my own by watching game film and thinking like, how would I deal with them going under screens? How would I deal with ice? How would I deal with blitzing? How would I deal with all of these things? How would I deal with someone not guarding one of my teammates? Like, I had to figure a lot of things out on my own. Then when you match that up with a coach who also does have the schemes and game plans, that's where you run into like the Mike James types of talent where it's like, oh, no matter what you throw out there, you're wrong.
We need to know the defensive rotations, your principle, your style, your coverages, every defensive player's ability on this court to be great at what we do. See, defense is the oldest thing that's moving in basketball at this moment in time. The principles that were set back then are still the principles today. What's evolved is the rules of offense, meaning there is the back of the book for defense. What you're supposed to do when on this cover, this cover, this cover, it's all there. Offense, I just create my offense on what you're supposed to do. Okay, let's get right to it. So that means I or any other high-level scorer will know exactly where you need to be, what you're doing, where to go. So let's see what your takes are. Let's get the cussing. Let's go.
Your typical dumbassery. There's 5 seconds on the shot clock. Why is Azar Thompson letting Kawhi Leonard go away from any help? The help is in the middle of the floor right here with Cade Cunningham.
Wrong.
Oh, okay. I'm going to try to guess what Gilbert's going to say here. Why is Thompson forcing Kawhi Leonard baseline? Because you're cutting the floor in half. Like if Kawhi Leonard goes middle and then Cunningham has to go help, James Harden is literally catching the ball on a closeout. Now you got James Harden, you got Dunn, you got this Batum. You got like all of this loaded up with James Harden in a closeout in a 3-on-2. So if you go this way, like one of the best scorers in NBA history is going to catch the ball with a closeout, which is the most efficient way to score the ball. Is driving kicks. If you force him baseline, you cut his options like far lower because now he's driving baseline. Now you have to contend with Brook Lopez in the dunker spot, and you've got your rotations loaded up where you can rotate and get it into Batum's hands first on that. If he drives baseline and kicks to the corner, you got Chris Dunn on the cut, Brook Lopez, as I said, in the dunker spot. Those are better to guard than James Harden on the closeout.
From any help, the help is in the middle of the floor right here with Cade Cunningham.
Wrong. The help is the baseline guy. You have a shooter going to his offhand, going baseline, meaning right now his help is the sideline. You see that white line? That's called out of bounds. That's a defender. You're pushing him baseline. There's a baseline defender and the baseline as the defender. His man is there also, which means you want to push Kawhi to the left because a left-handed or a right-handed player
So he's looking at this as an individual scout. So how we're guarding Kawhi specifically.
Going left with 5 seconds left on the clock means jump shot. The reason you don't want to push him right to Cade, where you consider help defense, do you not see that is James Harden there? So let me give you the inside of a break.
Sorry, I just realized my camera's in the way. I'll try to move it this side.
Now, if he goes middle, which is a do not allow middle for any defense, because once a person gets to the middle of your defense, it has you in a thing called scramble. Now, if you played high school basketball or you coach high school basketball, scramble is fine because the rest of the players on the team aren't that fucking good. In college, they aren't that fucking good, right? When you talk about college basketball, you're talking about what, 9, 10,000 kids? There's only 12 lottery picks. There's only 30 first rounders. Only, 60 players that gets drafted in 2 years. Only about 35 last and make it to year 2. So the product ain't as good as you would think. So you let this guy by the name of Kawhi Leonard go middle. You see that arrow where you pushed red to, sir? If Cade takes his ass right there, just right there, there's going to be a 3, either from James Harden or the next 3-point shooter would be Batum. That's how it works in the NBA. See, so what ends up happening is if Cade pushes over too far or just enough for a shooter like James Harden, who needs just as much space to get that shot off. Right now, Cade in this position is not close enough to James Harden for James Harden to get this shot. Because it's 0-0, James Harden probably wouldn't take the shot. But normally, that is too close for a James Harden, a Kevin Durant, a Dame, right? A Trae Young, a Steph Curry. You're too far. So if he scoots over a little bit, meaning James Harden has the shot, meaning Duncan Robinson will have to try to stunt. That pass is going to go where? To the next man, which means who has to help now? Yes, sir. Tobias Harrison means the wide open shot is Batum. He's only in the game to shoot that shot. Because that is already pushed into play, you then say, go baseline where you stay out of rotations because you have more non-movable.
And you force him to a contested 2, ideally, rather than a open 3. We're going to skip this. It's taking a really long time to make this point, but he's basically saying what we said. Oh, let's see what he gets to here.
And be right down the middle. You see that star, that first star right there? That's where that drive's going to.
All right, same thing. All right, let's get to his next breakdown.
In paint. There's no
good defense. No angle.
help.
Contested jumper. See, the problem is Kawhi has probably practiced this same shot thousands of times. The problem that you don't understand is this is the defense that is old school, the back of the book, standard defense of what you're supposed to do since they put in the rule of the zone. So,
all right. Yeah. He's just, and basically he's just saying like, this is a really tough shot. Fans are going to see this. Let's say Kawhi hits that 10 times in a row and they'll be like, you can't let him score that 10 in a row. He's one of the best at that. And it's like, yeah, but a contested 2, even from a really high level player, is still a lower percent, lower efficient, lower points per shot than a open corner 3 or an open 3 for James Harden. The other thing is once James Harden gets rolling, he also gets downhill. He also gets to the free throw line. He also gets his other teammates involved. So if you're bottling the LA Clippers into Kawhi Leonard taking a turnaround fadeaway jump shot over 2 people with 1 second left on the shot clock, you just live with it. You live with it, and you just hope over the course of a game, if you can force that, maybe he shoots 40% on those, 30-something% on those, and you can win, and you can take higher percentage shots. The NBA is a game of percentages and analytics now. So, golly, he was on that for a while. Oh, he's still on this. Let's get to the next play.
Hedging because I have no idea what the fuck the Pistons ball screen defense is. They're not hedging because Cade Cunningham's going under. He'd be going over. So Jalen Duren should be right here.
This is about to be Thomas Isolo's push. Or no, this was Obradovic. I'm so bad. The Serbian coach was teaching this, right? Weren't we watching this? The push concept?
Jamming the screener, right? So Cade Cunningham can cleanly get underneath. When you don't jam the screener, now Cade Cunningham is going.
Yeah. This is again, a lot of the concepts the NBA starts putting in is after they've seen success in the EuroLeague, because the EuroLeague is very, very, very detail oriented. Every possession matters. Like the way they defend things is just different than what we do here in America. We don't really concentrate on those things at a lower level, so we don't really have those building blocks once we get to the NBA. So the NBA, like just what you're supposed to do when you're a top level organization, you go steal all the good ideas from the other top organizations. So yeah, we just steal all the best defenses, let the other leagues experiment, and then the NBA just steals them.
Mush into that screen.
You're confusing me. Do you want him to hedge, or do you want him to jam the screener?
Right here, jamming the screener.
I need to hear what you're saying.
I have no idea what the the Pistons ball screen defense is. They're not hedging because Cade Cunningham's going under. He'd be going over. So
okay.
Jalen Duren should be right here jamming the screener, right? So
well, if you don't know what defense they're in, then why does he need to be jamming if he's not hedging? See, they can't switch.
And look, this is a shortcoming of Gil's Arena. This is one of the reasons I stopped watching, not Gil's Arena, but just Gilbert. A lot of players that played in the past, I really started seeing this with Shaq and Charles Barkley, Kenny, and all them. Kenny stayed up with it the longest, but now even him, they've stopped learning more concepts and nuances. They just stopped. They've completely Kenny stayed on TNT and was learning the new concepts. He would always run to the board and show new cool things, whatever. Now it's just I think they miss out on a lot of concepts because they just stopped doing their research on that. And Shaq even said he didn't watch games. Gilbert Arenas probably doesn't know about that push. I'm pretty sure that is what they called it, but they called it that push defense. And I wouldn't know about it unless I was watching film of other leagues, unless I was watching the top coaches give clinics. That's how you stay relevant and stay, as a person, I think you should always be learning. ABL, always be learning. So for me, the reason I know what I know is not because I invented it, not because I've put this in and experimented with every single thing ever. I just watch what the best teams and best coaches and best players are doing. I just steal that and I see if it applies to my concept. Sorry, all of that to say, one of Gil's shortcomings right here is he doesn't know the technical term for that defense. He doesn't know what they're actually supposed to be doing. He hasn't seen it, but he does understand, and he knows that. He knows he doesn't know what it's called. But he knows they have a call and they are probably doing what they've been told to do. So at least he knows that much. So that's why awful coaching, you don't know what you don't know. He doesn't realize there's this wealth of basketball information that he has no clue about. Awful coaching might have been good, up to a certain level. And I used to watch his breakdowns every once in a while because no one else was doing it. But he got to a certain level and he stopped learning. And then he's flatlined. And then the basketball knowledge just kept improving. So he's getting further and further behind because he's not prepared to learn. He just looks at players and thinks they constantly mess up. Coaches thinking they're constantly messing up, but it's you don't know what you're watching.
Because Lopez is going to roll middle, which I could care less, right? The reason you're going under is because they're not hedging. And look, Gilbert's got this wrong too, but this is why I'm always as a coach, show your work, show your math. And I just mean as a lower level coach, know why you're doing things or be able to explain why you're doing something. And then I'm not going to criticize you too much. It's the people that just spout things out and don't know what they're talking about. And then they say this is the gospel. This is it. You need to do what I say. Gilbert doesn't know he's got it wrong. But it's just because there's that bridge that he hasn't crossed of actually learning what they're doing. But that's not his job. He doesn't do that now. He just does entertainment now, but he knows
that there's a specific coverage that's being done. Again, that defense is to deter. And we watch this, that defense, Cade goes under and he's supposed to stay here. Forgetting his name now on the hedge. Technically, he's probably supposed to hedge a little bit higher and stay with Kawhi Leonard till he forces him back left to where Cade can get back up top. Because Kawhi Leonard gets around and Cade's able to get through, they end up not having to really do their concept. He just gets back to the ball above the three-point line. You can go under because Kawhi's probably not going to shoot this from the logo. Like, this is one of those things where you can see what their concept was, but both of them just made a on-the-fly read, exactly what Thomas Isolo talks about, like doing the dance. They just made an on-the-fly read of like, oh, we can get back. So nothing happened here. Nothing happened at all.
Right, so Cade Cunningham is going smush into that.
So right here, he probably doesn't get out there and hedge far enough, or they realize he's so high up that really Cade can fake. He can go over or he can go under. And we watched the Tony Allen video about defensive players needing to pick and choose, and it's kind of a game of 50-50s with this guy.
That screen,
Nothing really happened. Nothing's open.
Now, you see where Cade Cunningham is now? He went under successfully.
And he's still at the three-point line.
Right? The problem is, you think this is bad defense. Where did Kawhi go? Nowhere. Nowhere. Now, a smart, brilliant basketball player, guard who can't shoot, because they know you're going under, you
Rescreen.
see where Cade is? Run him into another screen.
It's almost like basketball is so simple that me and Gilbert came up with these two brilliant ideas just by ourselves. It's almost like I've watched this video beforehand. I actually haven't watched this video, but again, it's just like there's some concepts that you just, once you're taught them or once you see them, this is why Cade is in a lose-lose. NBA defenses are in a lose-lose because it's like no matter what you choose, you're wrong. If the offensive player is good enough, if the offensive team is good enough. So all that spacing is still there. You can't ice the screen because now Kawhi goes one dribble to the elbow. Thompson has to help. You kick to James Harden. It's the same exact thing we saw earlier, right? You get into your rotations with one of the greatest scorers in NBA history catching the ball with a closeout. So again, it's the same principles. We don't need to break these plays down differently, but let's see what happens here. Does Lopez rescreen?
So you set a pick, right? First one is deep.
Some people call this spur action. Some people call it, I forget what we called it in Australia. I can't remember what we called it now. See, and the terms don't even matter.
Corey, to see where you go, you went under, set it again. Now, because I know you're jamming, now go under again while I'm at the regular three-point line. Right now, going under, he shoots that. Well, we'll live with that. So you're going to go under. We're just going to flip that screen around again. And then when he flips it, roll. So now you're rolling both players into the guard. So you're rolling yourself and your own player into yourself. And they won't call an offensive foul because the first person of contact will be your own player into you. And I'm going to sit behind that wall that's being set. And I'm going to shoot a 3-point. But right now, nothing has happened.
Late to get on the other side.
Now it's ISO. Good luck.
He's in front of him.
Wide open.
And it's not wide open. It's still contested. It's just like, it's just ISO. Good luck.
Three.
It's not. I'm glad you said wide open. Because this is only wide open to elite players.
And also, this whole possession, they didn't even get inside the three-point line. So if you're the Pistons, you probably feel pretty good about that fadeaway that we forced Kawhi Leonard into, and then this three-pointer here. I'm assuming if you do this for a full game, like if you can stick with these principles for a full game, like you probably did pretty well. I don't know who won this game, but let's say Detroit lost and Clippers won. It wouldn't have been these plays that beat them. They'd be watching game film on like where they messed up these coverages and they gave up the slip to Brook Lopez for an easy dunk, or where Thompson over rotates, you give up an open three to James Harden. Like those are the plays they're watching. They're not watching. He just scored on you one-on-one, because it's like you're not supposed to stop Kawhi Leonard for a full game in ISO situations. You're not supposed to. That's why he's in the NBA. Let's get to the next part.
get underneath. When you don't jam the screener, now Cade Cunningham is going smush into that screen. He's
No, not smush. So from 2 seconds.
Man, hit that. Gil's really getting into this. I'm so glad this is happening. Let's look at the next play.
History.
Ball moves, you move.
All right.
Ball gets swung. Azar Thompson, I'm immediately down here. I'm halfway between the...
Again, those are the fundamental rules. Those are fundamental rules. If you're in high school, you got to get in the gaps, because one pass threes when you're in the gap is probably not really happening unless it's an elite shooter, right? But for the most part, if everyone's in the gaps and we just don't give up drives to the key, like, you probably win most of your games. Let's see what happens here. The reason I'd be hesitant if I'm Thompson, because again, if you go into the gap, Kawhi Leonard could just throw it straight back. And now again, James Harden with a closeout. We're trying to avoid James Harden closeouts, if you haven't learned by now.
3-point line and my man. Azar Thompson can't just fucking sit there. I should be right. My feet are set. I'm going to stunt. I'm going to easily recover back
Yeah, he's not helping off of James Harden into that gap.
out.
The problem is not him. The problem is Cunningham's got we talk about the push points, right? If I can push him over the elbow, if I can push him under the block, my help can do the rest. My help can come to the nail or to the captain spot if I do my job. Cade Cunningham just guessed wrong and got blown by here.
Fucking sit there. I should be right. My feet are set. I'm going to stunt.
Yeah, he just gave up a straight line drive. The point of attack, the breakdown was the straight line drive. No one else has done the wrong thing yet. Tobias Harris, they probably could have talked this out sooner. Tobias Harris probably could have been there a little bit sooner. It's a little bit different in the NBA though, because the defense of 3 seconds. Typically, you're not going to see people stand here unless it's Wemby.
I'm going to easily recover
Jokic gets away with it a lot too.
back out.
You're 100% right. I was taught the same thing. So this means you have to be in your mid to late 30s, because that means you was taught jump to the ball. So what you're saying is basketball right, 100%.
And this is the part that frustrates me, right? Gil's about to confirm. Well, it's over here now. Gil's about to confirm exactly what I said. Jump to the ball, be in the gaps, but it's different at higher levels. It's different with different game plans.
When that ball is passed, pretend.
Oh, sorry. So I was going to say, what's frustrating me is there's a lot of people that did learn that as a young player. So when they hear awful coaching say it, they're like, yeah, I knew there was something wrong with the NBA. There is a lot wrong with the NBA, but it's not the things that awful coaching is pointing out. He's completely right. He's got y'all mad at the wrong thing. He's got you fighting ghosts.
And that you are attached to the ball as a player. You move with the ball. The reason you move with the ball is because back then, when people didn't get the shimmy shake, it was always pass and cut. So when Harden passes the ball, he usually cuts, and you never wanted the guy to cut in front of you because he has the angle on you. So you always jump to the ball to force the guy to go behind you, because that's where the traffic is. So Asar should not be this high. Where you're wrong at is, if he did jump where you need him to jump, far enough to stop that drive, who do you have right there? Harden. See, there's a reason Harden is making the pass to Kawhi. So you can't help. This is not the 90s. This is not the 80s. This is not a sorry-ass shooter, which is usually the point guard back in. Our guy who's passing the ball, and then you damn near can sit in the other person's lap because he can't shoot the gun. No, these are marksmen now. And let's put it into a time. You remember Mark Price? Imagine Mark Price making the pass, and then you jump and help. What's going to happen?
Fellow Oklahoman, by the way. Shout out to Mark Price.
Hello. You're right. Bucket.
Point line and my man.
But in a sense, you're right. He should have moved somewhat towards this ball.
Just to stunt and make Kawhi maybe think about it.
Azar Thompson can't.
And
But honestly, look what Kawhi does. Kawhi does, if you guys saw my highlights that I put up, that's the same move that got me that dunk down here. Caught it on the move, one jab to the middle, or one jab to the baseline and go middle. this is Kawhi using, like, he's refuting like the bag talk right now of just, this is the best way to score, like quick move. The help can't get there in time, puts the defense in tough situations. If Kawhi backs it out and starts going to work, everyone can figure out where they need to be. So this is actually just a good job by LA Clippers, like running the game plan that they want to run. It's not really a bad job by Detroit, but the breakdown is Cade Cunningham. Now he needs to know, like, oh, he just hit me with that jab. Like, I've got to stay solid, send him baseline like I just did, right? The game plan was to send him baseline. I can't fall for that.
Right now, what Kawhi's looking at is barbecue chicken, meaning you have no help middle. You definitely don't have no help baseline. The defense, which is Cade, has no idea where to push him. But Cade is supposed to be pushing them baseline.
And Gilbert's exactly right, saying what I said. But this is where the value of an Anthony Davis, a Rudy Gobert. So everyone that's like, Rudy, this is what pisses me off about Gil's Arena at the same time. Gilbert knows this stuff intuitively. But this is what Rudy Gobert does for you in these situations. This is what DeAndre Jordan always did. This is what Anthony Davis did. This is why those guys are considered defensive player of the year nominees or candidates, right? Because Tobias Harris is not that guy. So he's like, he probably goes, help, help, help. He's probably doing what you're taught to say, help, help, help. Basketball wise, that's right. But for an elite player, someone who's a defensive captain, someone who can really get stops for you, he's probably yelling, I've got help baseline, pushing baseline, reminding Cade Cunningham, like, oh yeah, stay on his high foot, force baseline because I've got help. But these guys, yeah, they're probably just not saying anything at the level that those defensive players are. And this is where Jokic is really good, and he will figure out this stuff on the backside. He will figure out how to defend the ball. His on-ball defense is not good, Jokic. So everyone will say he's a bad defender, but I'm like, dude, no, he does like the organizing and the captaining on the backside really well. Steph Curry does the same thing. But Draymond, obviously they've got Draymond who really does it, but Steph can be over here where Duncan Robinson is, and he can be another mouthpiece to make sure they're talking these parts out. Detroit Pistons, they're young and probably just watching and not as elite, but that's fine.
So at this moment,
so we're going to skip ahead because Gilbert's just saying the same stuff I'm saying, but he's just taking a lot longer. Actually, let's see what Kawhi does.
I would take this shot. This is great defense.
Yeah, ends up being another contested fadeaway. Man, Gilbert's taking a long time to really roast him on these.
Watches. Do the Pistons fucking talk at all in transition? So Tobias Harris is taking the ball. Say this. What the fuck are Cade Cunningham's jogging? He should be sprinting. He should be taking Kawhi Leonard. Say it. So is R. Thompson.
Again, he's starting this play out in disadvantage. Like this is one of those plays again where, so the highest points per possession for a team is transition offense and I guess getting to the free throw line, but then you take into account like half court offense and whatever, but transition offense, you score at a higher percentage than any other state of the game. So basically when your team is in advantage in transition, they are already in advantage. The breakdown or whatever went wrong has already happened. So awful coaching will watch plays like this and be like what they should do now. But this is just like you're in disadvantage. All you can do now is scramble and make some plays. This is where Drew Holiday, his value comes in. Marcus Smart, Tony Allen, Giannis, like Wemby, guys that can stop two players. It's a 2-on-1 essentially. Guys that can slow down this 2-on-1 enough for the rest of the players to get matched up. Again, this is just not Tobias Harris. Never has been. So I would expect Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and look, Dunn wants it out of his hands. He really should be attacking full speed to the basket, and then they fill the other lanes. He wants it, get it to one of those guys. They'll make the right decisions. What he's saying, we're in advantage. James Harden, you got it, or Kawhi Leonard, you got it.
Knows to take James Harden. No one's fucking communicating.
Yeah, there's just it's a transition deep three.
Or doing anything. This is why you don't want.
Now, did you see?
Sprinting. He should be taking.
Now, just in case you want to challenge the first two takes, do you see who's taking that shot? Do you see where he took that shot from? Do you see how
in transition
fast he took that shot on a fast break? That's why you can't stunt off of the guy who's passing the ball, which is James Harden, which is an MVP, which is a 30-point scorer. Now, rotations right here. Let's go. Tobias takes.
Kawhi Leonard, say it so Azar Thompson knows to take James Harden.
Okay.
No one's fucking community.
I wonder if Gil will point this out. Because again, awful coaching isn't wrong. Like if Thompson right now went to James Harden and Cade Cunningham ran back and took Kawhi Leonard and he was communicating that to Tobias Harris, you can theoretically stop this. But what, again, people can't put themselves in the position of these players because most of them have never been there, right? Tobias Harris can't see Cade Cunningham behind him, but he can see Kawhi Leonard and he can see Dunn and he can see Harden. So again, Tobias Harris is the one not fixing this by stunting and making a play. But again, I don't expect him to do it because that's just not what he does. But right here, Tobias Harris can't see Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham could be yelling, go take ball. I got middle. You know, they could talk this out. But again, Cade Cunningham's young. He's an offensive mastermind. He's not there yet on defense, but these are things you're going to learn.
Say this.
And he could be yelling this out so that Tobias Harris can just sell out and go. And then Cunningham can try and make a play on Kawhi Leonard. But again, that's still a huge risk. If you don't get there in time, it's just a dunk for Kawhi Leonard, who's already torching your team. So let's see if Gil gives awful coaching credit for saying, yeah, theoretically you're right, but then points out why you're still wrong.
This had to be a turnover, so you're in a scramble.
Already in disadvantage, like I said.
So the first thing to do is stop the ball. Now, the problem is this. This is called a gray area play, meaning this. Kawhi is in front of two Piston players, which means what Tobias is looking at is a 2-on-1 against him. If he tries to stop the ball, Kawhi has a wide open layup because at this moment in time, when he's making this decision, Kawhi is in front. Right now, there's no way in hell, I don't even know who that is with the headband. Is that Cade? That might be Cade. There's no way in hell. I'm going by the yellow with the shoes. There's no way in hell. Is that Cade? Who the hell is this? Just so we got it right. We want to say their names right. Blurry. There's no way in hell Cade can get in front of Kawhi at this moment in time. If Tobias Harris runs over here, like you're saying, you see that red line? Follow the red line. If he hurries up and runs, you see Kawhi, he has about 2 feet. This is a hold up. This is what to athleticism will be Asar. He's the only one to get in front of Kawhi at this moment in time. So with talking on defense, Asar will be telling Cade he has.
And just to be clear, think about the solutions we're saying. Gilbert is actually saying Thompson me and him got two different thoughts about who should take who, but exactly what he just said. It's a gray area play. You just have to make a play. And that's what I tell my players. I'm like, once you get into a scramble or once we're in disadvantage, there's no right or wrong. Like, don't slow down and just be like, oh, you guard him. No, you just got to make a play. Stunt, get a deflection. Maybe you read the passer's eyes and you shoot the gap. Maybe you just wall up and take on two and keep stunning back and forth. It's just a gray area. You're in a scramble. So even me and Gilbert got a different perspective of what should happen. The interesting part is you got to remember just how quick it's happening. So even though we were on different thoughts and we've got it paused and we can both break down what we think should happen, this is why I'm not mad at Cade Cunningham and also Thompson for not figuring it out in a split second of what to do. And with all that being said, they gave up a deep, semi-contested transition three. Hey, pretty good job, guys. Let's go back down the other way. Like, what do you?
Kawhi.
The issue again, like we said, was what caused the disadvantage. Was it a bad pass? Was it a bad shot? What? Like, there's plenty. Was it a blown up screen? What was it that caused the disadvantage? That's what you got to fix.
Cutting down the middle. Oh, third and then Cade. This is a scramble play.
Jogging, he should be sprinting. He should be taking Kawhi Leonard. Say it so Azar Thompson knows to take James Harden. No one's.
See? Now, right now, look where this man caught the ball. Dribble once.
And look, so if Tobias Harris fully sells out, like Dunn gets a dunk, like, yeah.
You still got the original guy sitting in the corner with a three. It's a scramble play, right? But you see James Harden, fast break three. Now, in theory, you would rather have the three than Kawhi going down and making a two. But it is a scramble play. I really don't see.
What the fuck are?
I don't see anything wrong with how this was covered. Reasoning is this. They didn't get a fast break layup from the guard. They didn't get a fast break layup pass to Kawhi. You had Tobias stop the ball in the sense of him passing the ball to James Harden, and he still goes out there and at least put a hand in his face. But it is James Harden.
Cade Cunningham's jogging. He should be sprinting. He should be taking Kawhi Leonard. Say it so Azar Thompson knows to take James.
I don't know what fucking speed or who you think certain players are, but there's no way in hell that Cade will get in front of Kawhi Leonard. He will be dunked on. You're.
All right, let's go. I wonder if Gilbert, like we've seen enough, right? Like me and Gilbert are going to see the game very similar. And I would say, like, I'm going to have more terminology, verbiage, and more updated knowledge of what Gilbert has of the NBA. But there are some things about the NBA I will never know that Gilbert knows. So there are going to be some instances, especially as an individual scorer, that I can relate to because I've been an individual scorer, but never at this level. So there's going to be some things that Gilbert can give that exactly what I said earlier. He was thinking more along the lines of individual scouting first, whereas I looked at team concept first. So his attention to detail is going to be different than mine. But I'm going to see some things he doesn't see. But even with that being said, and that context and that nuance, we've said almost exactly the same thing this whole video. We just get there a slightly different way. This is what I mean. Basketball is simple. It's basic. I just do a really good job articulating it and explaining that to an audience. Gilbert doesn't do this for a job. He's probably never done it for a job, but he understands it as a player, so he can see what's happening. He doesn't have the next tool set to communicate it like in an efficient way. But we're seeing the same thing, right? So we could have a basketball conversation and probably be pretty good. The difference is awful coaching is so disconnected from all of that he wouldn't even be able to have the conversation. He wouldn't even be able to fake it, right? Like Gilbert could go to the EuroLeague, even though he's never seen a bunch of those plays. He knows how to read a pick and roll. He knows how to make those passes. He knows how to score individual coverages, but he wouldn't be able to plan ahead because he hadn't seen it yet. But the way his brain works and the way he's seen it in the NBA, he would just have to do some more studying and catch up. Awful coaching, on the other hand, doesn't even know what he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's looking at. He doesn't know what problem he's trying to solve. And that's my main issue. So we'll skip ahead because all these plays are pretty similar. I want to see if Gilbert talks more. Man, he broke this down over an hour. Let's see what he says at the end because this video is already long. I just want to see, maybe we'll watch the last quarter half of this play and then we'll just watch what Gilbert says at the end.
Thompson comes back. You don't even get one rotation right.
So they actually did what you actually said.
Hey, fine. You got to know how to fucking rotate that.
Forced baseline, just like they wanted to do. This was their game plan, right? You brought the captain over. We got help.
Here comes the.
And we've seen these. Broken these down in the EuroLeague, some of the EuroLeague games and stuff we're watching. So we get that 45 cut or that sandwich cut on the drive. So if you drive baseline, you want the 45 cut. If you drive from the 45, you want the baseline cut. Okay, so it's all the same principles. All of these NBA guys know these principles. All of the offensive guys know it. All the defensive guys know it. Now there's the skill level and brain processing power for each of those that some of these guys don't have. Duncan Robinson isn't an elite defender, so this is probably moving really quick for him. He sees James Harden drive. He's fully facing the ball. Tobias Harris has always just been a hooper that he just plays. Really, he's not going to overly exert himself defensively, so he kind of knows what to do. But when it comes to the advanced game plans, he's not moving the needle forward. He'll do what the NBA guy's supposed to do, but he's not going to go over and beyond. So right here,
the double, okay? So Duncan Robinson's got to take the cutter.
Duncan Robinson is essentially guarding 2, or Tobias Harris can drop down and be on the nail. Duncan Robinson can probably flatten out just a little bit and be on the block. They could shorten this gap just a little bit, make that window a little bit tighter, but then Duncan could also play that skip pass like is what he's supposed to do.
He's got to say something.
Actually, Duncan Robinson is supposed to drop.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, we all see this, but like the players, we all see this. We understand this. So when awful coaching is like, they don't know what they're doing. No, they know what they're doing, but you've never been out there trying to guard this and seeing how fast it goes. And Duncan Robinson probably did defend the right way on this first rotation. But once you get into that second rotation, third rotation, the scrambles, it starts moving so fast that you've overloaded their brain. There's all these different rules they're trying to keep in touch. And also Duncan Robinson is just not an athlete that can make a mistake, afford to make a mistake and then recover. Some guys aren't very smart, but they're just so athletic. They can, plays for Derek Jones is a good example of this, where IQ wise, I'm about to sneeze. IQ wise, he's not always in the right spot, but he knows enough, and his on-ball defense is really good. But his team defense concepts, he gets wrong quite a bit. But because he's so athletic, he can make up a lot of that ground just by being a effort guy, and he works really hard. So it's like he gets behind a lot, but he can make up for it. Duncan Robinson just doesn't have the athleticism to make up for his
mistake. He's supposed to drop as if he was getting the defensive rebound. That's where his position is supposed to be. Tobias Harris is supposed to be at the dotted.
The nail. It's so interesting. Gilbert saying the exact same thing I just said.
Right. So he has all cutters. Cade has first pass out between his man and Tobias's man. Let's say Lopez stayed. What ends up happening is you will stunt and try to get back. You will play this in the middle of the game, the middle of the lane.
And that's the Derek Jones thing that he can do. Duncan just can't do that. I'm sorry to say it.
Game until your player Duran gets back to where he's supposed to be. But the rotation is Duncan Robinson drops, Tobias Harris is the cutter guy, and Duncan Robinson gets to the three-point shooter that's in the corner.
And then this is where elite defense comes into, like individual defense, knowing that James Harden, he can pass with either hand, but when you're talking about college or high school, like James Harden is a left-handed player, so thinking about what pass is Harden, that hook pass around to the right is way tougher. So you can kind of shade him more to the right, force it to be to the right, but also because he's an elite scorer, you're just thinking stop to score. So he's not thinking about stop to pass. He's thinking about stop to score. That's just what makes it tough.
To then drop over here and move to the corner, and Cade Cunningham would move over there, and Azar Thompson comes back. You don't even.
I wish I had a fucking pen.
What? He's saying,
so I can say, put everybody where they're supposed to be. Cade, free throw line. Tobias, that little dot where you're bumping the guy. It seems like you always know what to say. You don't know where to use it. This is where Tobias Harris is bumping the big, slowing down that cut. That's this right here.
One rotate.
And yeah, this is all Duncan Robinson because he's going for the rebound, and James Harden at the last split second hits the corner.
Right.
Again, and then you run out to it. It's a decent contest, but that corner three is a super efficient shot. Let's see.
You know what? I can't. I got a fucking headache. I can't. I can't with you anymore. I can't. Listen. What do you think you know? It's not reality TV how this game is played. Everybody on here, no matter how sorry you think they are NBA players. How about this? Think of the 1% in the world, right? Give everybody $1 million. The person who only makes $1 million is still richer than the average person. You cannot compare him to the guy who's making $1 billion. Because how far that is how far he is to you.
All right,
so you think
we're going to stop it right there because I was with Gil until he started doing it. He's hurting my brain now. I don't know what he's talking about. But I do agree completely with Gilbert on this video, 100%. First time ever completely agreeing with Gilbert Arenas. This is the reason I was excited for his podcast. This is the reason I was excited for NBA players or former NBA players to start getting into the media. Somewhere along the way, we lost it. I don't know why Gilbert decided to do this awful coaching video, but I would like to think it's because maybe he saw my awful coaching video and was like, yeah, this guy's right. That's what I should be doing. Probably not, right? But I would like to think we've had some small 0.1%, 0.01% of a change in a positive direction in the basketball world just by calling a lot of this stuff out and explaining it and teaching it. Somehow one of you watched a video and then it went to all these things and you left a comment on one of Gilbert's videos and then he saw that comment and then went and did this. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. Butterfly effect, I guess. But at the end of the day, this is what I want more from our former NBA players, because these are the things, like, people, I'm hoping people that are fans of awful coaching that have jumped in my comments and told me how wrong I am and stupid I am can now watch this video and hear it from somebody else and be like, oh, maybe Coach Midrange knows a little bit about basketball. And I've never professed to be all knowing. As I said, how do I keep learning things? You guys watch me daily, watch videos and try to find something new to learn. You constantly see me changing and updating my verbiage on stuff. I used to call a good example. I used to say just pulling the chair to me on defense was any time the defensive player pretended they were going to bump and then would move. Typically that was called in the post. When you're a post defender, you would pull out the chair. But I was calling it the same thing when guards were doing that. And one of you in the comments said, oh, I've heard that being called hollowing out. I was like, oh, wait, I have heard that being called that before, but that's a great term because it helps me more distinctly describe the difference between the two. Pulling the chair, I think, is in the post. It's a different type of movement than hollowing out for a guard. So I'm not claiming like, oh, I've always known it was. It's more so like, yeah, that's a better way to put it than I was putting it. Alex Sarama, I always talked about getting advantage, right? But I also have getting advantage in neutral, getting advantage with the ball, getting advantage in all these different areas. We watched Alex Sarama do the breakdown, and he talked about getting the dominoes to fall. So now I just go, oh yeah, let's get the dominoes to fall. So we're not being redundant with the word advantage and meaning different things. I'm constantly updating my coaching, and what makes me a really good coach, I think I'm a really good coach, is that I just know that there's so much knowledge I don't know. And there's always some more that you can learn. There's always a side that you're probably not seeing. So if you watch something and the fix looks very simple and easy, oh, just do this thing and this will happen. I'm assuming there's a lot going on that I don't know. It's rarely ever that simple. So great job with this video, Gil. We need more of this sort of stuff, not necessarily calling out creators, but when you do see garbage online, like there should be a little bit of gatekeeping. And I don't mean only Gilbert's a little bit more stringent on like, if you can only comment on the NBA if you play in the NBA. Listen to this breakdown. I was probably more detailed and I probably gave a better explanation than Gilbert. I never played in the NBA. I don't think you had to play in the NBA to have good knowledge of the NBA, but there are some things I probably I'll never know or I'll never learn because I just haven't had that experience. There are going to be some things, we are already talking about this, where Gilbert's going to have that I'll never have. But then there's so many things that I know and I've learned in my coaching experience that Gilbert will never know because he's never coached 300 kids, been in charge of 300 kids of all age groups of both genders, and had to put a program in place to get all of them better at the same time. Working with 30 different coaches and having to lay out the game plan weekly, like that sort of thing has really trained my brain to think a certain way. But then I've also been involved at the professional level, also done a lot of volunteer clinics, also done a lot of clinics for money, also worked with a lot of pros and have a lot of coaching mentors that are, in my mind, elite coaches. So we have different experiences and can offer different things. The quicker you realize that, the quicker you can be on your pathway to actually leaning into your strengths. So I use all those different experiences I have to be like, that's my strength. I can find commonalities in all these things. Guys that are in the NBA, sometimes they only know their path. They don't see all these other avenues and all these other things. So anyways, a lot of rambling, a really long video, but thank you. So I feel so validated. Go check out our old awful coaching videos if you want to see more of these. My very first videos on this channel. I think it was 2 or 3 in a row, awful coaching and talking about it. But it basically sums up my whole feelings towards it. And you can go look at the comments and see how many delusional fans there are in there too. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Let me know if you enjoyed this. I know it's a really long video, but I think it's important. I think it's very important. So love you guys. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.